Good morning. I can't get over this weather. It is just consistently majestic. It's so majestic. I've got a white t-shirt on, which is unheard of, and I can guarantee it's not going to be white by the time I go home. I can't tell you. It's like literally get up in the morning and it's this just gorgeous temperature. Coffee in the garden, you know, it's like it's really hit summer. Poor mum. Actually, I say poor mum. She's been sending me pictures from Marrakesh, and it's definitely not poor mum. But she is missing out on this. And actually, talking about, you know, last week I was saying that she's leaving just as the asparagus are coming into their own. Well, I was up here yesterday, but only just to check on the chickens, because I can tell you we've been having some fun times with the car. But yeah, the asparagus has just gone completely crazy. So actually that's the first thing I'm going to do, because they're all like this long. It's incredible how quickly they grow. What have I done with the knife? There it is. Right, let's get them first and then we can crack on with the rest of it. And I can bore you to tears with car drama. It is not only the asparagus that's been growing quickly. Look at the weeds. Look at the weeds in here. And actually, it's normally mum's job. I know that sounds like mum does the weeding. It's not all the weeding, but the weeding in here she does in particular, because you know the other week I was rescuing things out of here because it's all self-seeded. Well, so much of this is poppies. And yeah, there's tons and tons of poppies. There are oxalis and nasturtiums. We've got calendula. And for me, I just want to leave it all. And what you need is mum being ruthless, going, this is the asparagus patch, Jessie, it's not blooming flower bed. And she just hacks them all down. She is ruthless. I am not. Right, I'm going to take some of these asparagus because they're long. Look at the size of these buggers. Look at that. The idea is not to let your asparagus get this long. I mean, I know for eating, but also because to keep it producing, you want to cut them when they're really small. Not really small, but you know, when they're about this size, to keep the momentum going. When they start getting this big, it does slow them down a bit. But the weather we've been having, they have rocketed up. This is literally 2 days growth. These were like this big 2 days ago. Come on in. I am proper chuffed. Oh, the blood's rushing to my head. I'm proper chuffed actually that we're getting some good asparagus this year, because I was worried about this patch. This is our older patch and they don't last forever, asparagus patches. And I thought this one was really coming to an end because we've had a couple of, I wouldn't say bad years, but they've just been like tailing off years, you know. And actually this year things seem to be back up again. We have had some crowns die off. We've got less productive patches than we've had previously, but the crowns that are still going still look pretty good. See these guys, they've just gone over. Do you see this one's starting to go like a fern? This one's starting to go like a fern. Wow, it's hot. It is hot, 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 hot. Holy smoke. Whew. It's really lovely standing in the shed here. The moment you go out into the desert, it's warm, my goodness. try that again. Yesterday descended into nothingness. Picked the asparagus. Started having a look around at what I was going to do. Was really busy up here yesterday, which is weird for like a midweek day. Ended up chatting to a girl up there who's just got a new fig tree and working out where to plant it. Somebody else down there had some lettuces that had been eaten by slugs. So I basically spent the following hour nattering. Chatting relevant things, I will add. But yeah, basically nattering to other people on their plots and them on mine. And then it was basically time to go home. So yeah, abort mission yesterday, but we're back. It is absolutely roasting. As you can probably tell from my incredibly sweaty face, I've just been wheeling stuff up because we've got a couple of plants at home, load of brassicas that need to be planted out. So I brought them up with me. So wheeling the wheelbarrow up and down and all the rest of it. Now I am sweaty. There is a bit of a breeze though, which is nice. So you're talking of brassicas. I've got some to plant out, but I've also got a whole load that needs sowing. It is actually the 1st of May today, which how that happened, I have absolutely no idea. April just seems to have, it was like the beginning of April and it was like, right, go. And then now it's the end of April and like not a lot has happened. So we've got extra go for May. So I've got some brassicas that need sowing, but I've also got all the beans. So I managed to get, one of the things I did manage to get done in April is I got all the cucurbits sown. So courgettes, pumpkins, squash, cucumbers, melons, all of that kind of stuff. They're all coming along really nicely. They're still at home. But I didn't get any beans sown, and I'd intended to get beans sown at the end of April. Missed that. So we're going to have to get them done at the beginning of May. So yeah, loads and loads to do. But yeah, so happy May. Pinch punch, 1st of the month, no returns, chaps. So wandered up here this morning. First annoying thing I'll show you in the greenhouse. Somebody has been in here overnight. I've rescued these. This is my chard. They were all turfed out. You can see this one's really suffered. It had its roots exposed, and then obviously it's got hot in here this morning. But they were on the floor there. I haven't cleaned up the evidence. You can see up here all of this has been messed around with. So I don't know who it was, but somebody's been up here and messed around with them. Oh God, it's hot. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. Whew. Mighty annoying, but nothing actually, ruined, nothing lost. But it does mean I don't want to close the greenhouse overnight, you see, because at the moment we've got really hot temperatures and the mornings are roasting. And I am not going to get up here at like 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm afraid, even if it is to rescue vegetables. So I'm going to have to put something over the door. I might put a bit of metal mesh or something over it tonight. Go and have a look in the polytunnel. That's something else that I have been leaving open overnight. Although, to be fair, there's actually nothing in there worth rescuing. I am mid-clearance here. Having said nothing in here worth rescuing, this chard, I reckon I might try and save. Dug out a load of the parsley last week, obviously. Still a couple in the back there, but the coriander is going to seed nicely, so I will leave all of that ground open for them, and I think I might just take the rest of that parsley today, actually. But yeah, mustard greens that are in here are all over. I am just shredding them for the girlies, really, and then putting them in the compost bin. One sprouted spinach. That is not what you're supposed to look like, mate. The radishes have practically fried. It was way too hot for them in here. And spring onions, I'm probably going to take them today too. So it's possible that we'll have the polytunnel cleared today. Oh my God, I'm dying. Let me out, let me out. That might be a job for later on, actually, when the sun has buggered off. Not complaining, don't get me wrong, I am not complaining, but yeah, it's hot. Sweaty mess is what I am. Right, what is going to be first on the list? What jobs have we got in the shade? Absolutely none, because there is no shade anywhere at this time of day. Not a sausage. The only thing where we've got some shade is in that girly house. Hey girls, lucky girlie's got the shade. Lucky girlies. Oh, somebody has also dug up my spring onions. That is annoying. These are the ones I planted out a couple of weeks ago. They've been messed around with, and now there is a very large gap in the middle. Poo. A poo. It's a real problem at this time of year. I mean, I know we have a lot of problems with animals anyway. Actually, I'm just going to put you on the stand and stand in the shed. That's better. The dilemma that we've got with watering, when we're planting plants out, obviously the first couple of weeks, their roots are really not gone anywhere. You know, they haven't got down into the ground. So although if you dig down at the moment, the top soil, what are you trying to say, Jessie? The topsoil, so you're looking across the allotment, it looks really, really dry. And it is on that top surface. But if you go down by about this much, it's still really damp under there. Like, we've had a lot of rain previously. The problem is when you plant new plants out, they're not down into that dampness that is deep yet. They're just in that top section. And even if you plant them deep, like, they just don't have the root system to cope. So what you do, obviously, is you water them. Whereas the more established plants don't need water because down deep there is all that water. You water them. Now that unfortunately brings the worms to the surface, and then that is what the badgers and the foxes, etc., are after. It's a dilemma that you have to water the new stuff, or if you're direct sowing, you have to water the seeds, obviously, because if they dry out, they're in that top section. If they dry out, well, then they're goners. But then you're just inviting trouble. So everything needs to be watered in and then covered and hope that they get their roots down fast. So like perennial vegetables and all that kind of stuff are brilliant because you do not need to water them. Anyway, that's what I did with the spring onions. I watered them yesterday morning. Bad move. So essentially that is going to be the problem that I've got with these. We have, who do we have in here actually? These are the ones that I've been growing at home. We've got Kalettes, the Cryptus Brussels sprout, which are the clubroot resistant variety, and Cavalla Nero. All we've got in here, yeah. So I really want to plant these out. As you can see, they're looking really good. But like I say, if I plant them out, I'm going to be putting them in danger. We've got another, how many days? I think it's like 4 days of this really hot weather. After that, we've got a bit of rain. So what I think I might do is leave them. So it's not that I won't have to water them in when I put them in, but it just means that the rest of the ground, like everywhere else, is also going to be wet. So it's not going to make them such a target. I don't know if you can hear those girls. They are screeching. They're really angry. Val and Vi are still broody, and Margot's like on the edges of being broody. She keeps going in there, but I think it's more that she wants to lay her egg in a particular hole in the in the house, and the other 2 girls are sat in it, so they won't let her in. So, but I've kicked them all out today so they can have some water and a bit of food. Because that's the main problem with when they go broody, is that they just sit in there like lunatics, and then obviously in hot weather like this, it's no good for them. They need water, they need food. Boy, I'm chatting a lot, aren't I? What am I going to do? There's nowhere in shade. There's only in here is in shade. I'm just going to hide in the shed. What was on my list that I was supposed to be doing? I really want to clear the polytunnel, but it's just, I mean, it is a furnace in there. I might come back later this evening and do that. So after a bit of musing, I realised that really the only place on the whole plot at the moment that's in the shade is the shed. So perfect opportunity to give it a good old tidy. This shed has got loads of workspace. I mean, it's a big shed. It's a big old square. I think it's 8 foot by 8 foot. It was secondhand. We've had it in 2 different places on the allotment. It's had a hard life, but it is absolutely fantastic. And when it's all clear and tidy and looking good, it is the best. Like that. Oh, just having those work surfaces in here is a joy. Shiny Ted time, chaps. It's a big space, this shed, actually. And when you start clearing it out, you realise quite how much junk you've got stored in here, but still. So although that wasn't on my main to-do list, it is something that I've been meaning to do for absolutely ages. And it was in the shade. So win-win all round. And actually now I'm starving. So I think I'm going to make some lunch. And that involves going around and picking a load of greenery. I've got masses of stuff going to seed. So I'm just going to rip a load of stuff off and chuck it in a pot with some pasta. Oh, the breeze is absolutely gorgeous. Let's get some snips. Going to take the middle out of these 2 chards. I've already taken the centre out of the end one, but you can prolong their life a little bit longer by when they do bolt, just by taking that centre stem out. And the pink one. There we go. Whee! What else am I going to have in my pasta? Let's have a look. Actually, I think there's a load of the minestra curls left. They're in here. So the minestra this year hasn't been anywhere near as successful as it was the year before. I think I sowed these ones when it said to sow them on the packet, and the other ones I sowed a lot earlier. And I think maybe the packet instructions are for growing them in a wonderful hot climate like Italy. And I might need to just adapt that a little bit for how we need to grow them in this country. But they've still got that wonderful curly stem, and they have been so delicious. It's not that we've not got anything off them, it's just that last year they were up here and this year they're down here. So actually, I'll tell you what I might do is just take one of these plants, because they're not producing anything more now. If I take one, I can just pull all the excess off and stick it straight in the, I think that's what I'll do. There we go. Take the whole thing, Jessie. We've picked repeatedly from them, but now they're no longer producing more flower heads, so I'm not shortchanging myself by taking the whole thing out. And I'm not just going to be eating the heads, you see, because it is a sprouting broccoli, and normally you would just eat, you know, the heads of these things. But I've found that actually the leaf on this, because they're just beautiful and the leaf is just as delicious as everything else. And I think it's because the purple sprouting broccoli, I'll show you the plant that we've got up there, it's got much bigger leaves and they get much, much coarser. Whereas these, the leaves themselves are just, I mean, look at that. How beautiful are they? They're just curly and really super fine. And so they don't tend to get that far. I think the ones lower down would get a little bit ropey, but the ones up here. So actually after the broccoli has finished sprouting, I've just been stripping the whole plant and eating everything basically apart from the hard stems. That's what you want out of a plant, isn't it? Eat everything. Let me show you what I mean by the purple sprouting broccoli ones though. So in comparison, as you can see, I've got masses of this to pick. It's just got away from me. But the leaves themselves, totally different. I can't lift that up without doing the whole thing, but totally different, like really quite big. And this is very much a thing where you really do predominantly just eat the flowering stems with a little bit of leaf that's, you know, that's on the stems. But this, on the other hand, is a totally different beast. I have also got a couple of leeks left over here, which will be perfect. Leek, chard, and minestra. Let's have it. God, that was good. I feel like I should be doing something, but actually, I always say to people when they like ask me for advice on like starting a new allotment or whatnot, or I do the tours of like when new people are coming onto the allotment site here. And one of the things I always say is, don't feel bad just coming up to the allotment to enjoy it. Like if every time you come up, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to be productive and you have to get this done and that done, it does take away the joy a little bit. And although I really should be getting on with something, just pottering and looking and really observing what's going on is a joy. It's perfect. What a lovely way to spend the morning. Anyway, I've actually just had a text message to say that a package is arriving in 10 minutes. And unfortunately, it's refrigerated medication, so I can't miss it. I have to go home and pick it up. So I think what I'm going to do is pack up here. Hey, Lil. I don't know if you can see the Lil. Can you see Lil? Yeah, you can. Hey, Lils. Give you some lunch. Pack up here. Go home. Pick up the prescription. Do some seed sowing. And then come back here this evening when it's a bit cooler. It's finished. It's all over. It is. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. I have to come back later anyway because I want to barricade the greenhouse against whoever had the audacity to attack my chard last night. Ooh. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I will see you at home for a bit of seed sowing and then we'll be back here later. Might even bring a beer with me. I know. Living the high life. Hey, Lils, let me get you some lunch. Let me get that Lils some lunch and then we're going to head off. Yeah. When you're in a hurry, isn't it? In a hurry, nothing's going to work. Let's go. See you later, Lils. I have been on a bit of a sowing mission since I got back. The garden is beautiful right now. The temperature is not too hot. I've got the hose on, like spraying the flowers on that side because they were looking a bit sad. And it's just like cooled the air right down. It's gorgeous. But sowing mission. So these are my tomatoes. They're looking really good. That's what I need to clear the polytunnel for. I'm thinking about doing that this evening actually. If I don't do it this evening, I'll be doing it tomorrow because these guys are looking like they're pretty much ready to go in. And then slightly further down, we have some extra tomatoes here. I had quite a lot of doubles. And then some peppers, the ones that just haven't done so well. We've got some really good looking ones. Like these guys did amazingly, sown the same time as those. They're just being really slow, so I'm not sure why, but serendipitously, we've actually got one of all of them in the big pots now, so these are just extras. I also have the Herba Stella in here, which are going to be going to Hampton first and then back to the allotment. And under here, I have, this is what I've sown just now. So we've got some beetroot, just Kyogia, you know, the white and purple striped one inside when you chop it open. I've got some more Lilia spring onions that I've just sown because these guys here, if you can see them, really sporadic germination. That's Lilia as well. Obviously the ones that have just been dug up at the allotment, they were my first sowing, really, really good germination. They all came up really well. This second sowing, different packet of seeds, same variety, terrible germination. So I've just bought a new packet from Chiltern Seeds, and I've sown some more of those. Sorry, this is a very strange angle, sorry. So Lilia spring onions, I've sown some more Mizuma because the first lot's been potted out into the boxes for Hampton. And I've also got the Okahajiki in there. I don't know if you remember, I was talking about this right at the beginning of the year. It's called land seaweed. It's a Japanese thing. And I'm thinking that it's going to be a little bit along the lines of the agretti. Not sure. And underneath here on the bottom shelf, I don't know if you can see that. No, I'm going to have to lower you again. I'm going to be practically chin on the floor, aren't I? Yep. Hallie is looking at me over there like, what the hell is this girl doing? But this one here, I've sown a whole load of the second wave of brassicas. So the brassicas that I had at the allotment today was the first lot that I put in. And this one, I've got Asturian tree cabbages, garlic kale, kailan, which is the Chinese sprouting broccoli. I've got red Russian kale, purple sprouting broccoli, cavallonero, pira. Now, I don't know how to say this. It's pira, P-I-R-A-C-I-C-A-B-A. I'll put it on the screen, which is another kind of sprouting broccoli that I've never grown before. So that's a new one. Then I've got sweet basil, because terrible germination on the sweet basil up there. Flat leaf parsley, lettuce leaf basil, and then 2 rows of lettuce. So yeah, I've been on a bit of a mission, but the next bit I'm going to do in those root trainers I've just been filling up are the beans. Bit old for that kind of thing. Please excuse the washing on the line. I thought I'd made a gap between them big enough for like filming through, but now I've just got a t-shirt on either side. Never mind. So I'm not being particularly adventurous on the bean front this year. I'm doing the same 3 French beans that I've been doing for the last few years, which is Cobra, the climbing green French bean, which so far I have never found a better green climbing French bean. It is reliable. The pods are perfect and they're utterly, utterly delicious. So unless something drastic happens, I'm always going to be growing Cobra. I've dilly-dallied with quite a few different varieties of purple climbing French bean, but I've kind of settled on Cosy à Violette, which is a classic old one. I've tried so many different ones, but I keep coming back to it, and I think there's a reason for that. So I'm going for that one as my purple one. And for my yellow, I'm doing Sunshine. Again, I've tried quite a few different yellow French beans. I think there's Sonata and Deca Gold, but I'm going back to Sunshine. Firstly, I had seed left over from last year, but actually last year I was really quite happy with these. So they are the 3 French beans that I'm sowing. All I've got to decide really is how many. God, it's bright. I might just have to move us. Hold on. There we go. Right, slots. That's perfect. I've actually got 6 beans to sow, so that's perfect. I'll do 2 runs of each, and I'll put 2 beans in each of the root trainer slots. Absolutely perfect. So like I say, these are going to be growing up my arches. A couple of years ago, I did a whole video on why I like growing beans up arches. If anybody's interested, I'll put the link to it underneath. I might link it at the end of the video, because I am a huge convert to growing beans up arches. It changed my relationship with growing beans, particularly actually French beans, because runner beans are big and you can really see them really clearly, but French beans, particularly green ones, I always had problems with. I had problems with picking them, and then I would lose them and they would go over, and then obviously if you don't keep picking the beans, they stop producing, and that's what would happen. And like a couple of weeks later, I would find all of these really like overdeveloped ones with the big pods in, and because they've just been hidden. But on an arch, you don't have any of that problem. So big convert. Big fan of growing beans up arches. Right, that is my yellow beans. I better label these as I go. Is my pencil still out here? Hopefully. Right, sunshine. Brilliant. 2 rows of cobra. Next up, bolotis. What an outrageously good bean these are for drying. They're just so delicious and beautiful. I love them. This variety is actually called speckled cranberry. I've tried a lot of different bolotis and some of them have been really pernickety. They do tend to have quite a rough existence, the beans on my plot. They go from being sort of very, very damp to absolutely bone dry really quickly. There's not really much of a halfway. And some of the varieties that I've tried before have struggled with that. And really the beans have sort of petered out quite quickly. Not found that with these, hence I'm sticking with them. What was that one, Bolotti? And talking of difficult climate, the runner bean that I've decided to do this year is a variety I've never tried before, and it's called Firestorm. Found it on Chiltern Seeds website. It's actually a hybrid. It's a hybrid between a French bean and a runner bean, but the end result is still very much a runner bean. It's just apparently really, really prolific and has a great deal of tolerance for pants weather. So underwatering, overwatering, no sunshine that year like we had last spring. Apparently these cope really well. So I'm going to give them a go. I think runner beans get a bit of a bad rap, really. I don't think people appreciate them to the extent that they should. I'm going to do all of these as runner beans, and I'm going to do an entire arch of runner beans. So whereas the rest of them will be sharing, the runner beans get their own arch. Because I love runner beans, and Mum loves runner beans. It's just a winner all round, and they're gorgeous with those beautiful big scarlet flowers. Just love them. It's like classic allotment. Right, now you'll notice there are 2 slots missing at the end here. That's because they've currently got sweet peas in them and I left them up at the allotment. But when I get those back, what's going to be going in there are jinxie beans, which is an Asturian bean given to me by a girl who watches the vlog. And although they did actually get going quite late last year, they just started to pick up just as the weather faded. So I've got high hopes that it's going to be third time lucky with them, but that's what's going to be going in those 2 slots. As soon as I kick the sweet peas out. I know, they should already have been kicked out. So these are the root trainers that I got from Ian. The incredibly posh ones compared to the normal root trainers, but something I'd say that you've got to be really, really careful of is that root trainers normally are like a standalone free. They're really super flimsy, but they're standalone in a frame and then you put them into a tray. Well, these come with their own trays, and something that I found, in fact, with the sweet peas that are currently at the allotment, I had them all stacked and full of compost and I was just watering the sweet peas. I hadn't realised that actually the base had filled up almost halfway with water and was starting to rot out their roots. So just a word of warning, if you're using these, which I recommend you do because they're so good, just be careful how much you're watering and that they're not sitting in water underneath. It's not difficult to check. You just pull one of the slots out and check. It's just that it hadn't really kind of twigged for me that that's what was happening. So just be aware. Right, now I'm thinking about going back up to the allotment this evening, but I've got to get to the supermarket and buy some food. Right, I better water those, I think. Good evening, chaps. I have made it back up here. It is about 6:30, and I tell you what, talk about a change in the weather. The breeze has come right up. In fact, the wind is just doing its thing. Thank you very much for the demo. The breeze has come right up and the temperature has dropped so much. I brought my beer up with me, which I am still going to have up here, I can tell you, even though it's not, you know, a beautiful sunny evening. But what I do need to do before the beer gets opened, or the cider as it is in fact, is I'm not up here tomorrow and Mum comes back the day after. So this is what I want to do. I haven't tidied outside the greenhouse, but I have made a little bit of an inroad into it. Compost bin has been dismantled. The peas are out. I haven't sown, what does that say? Sifi snunup. See if you don't even know what that says. Turnips, rocket, strimmer. Oh, I haven't done any strimming. I did bring the battery up with me. I might do a bit of that as well this evening. But mainly, I just want to get the polytunnel clear so that it is ready to go, because those tomatoes at home are starting to look a little bit, you know, dangerous when they get that tall. And I don't really want to pot them up into another size bigger pot before we get them in. I think I'm probably going to have to, because this week is getting cooler. I mean, it said it on the forecast and now I believe it. It's been a bit of a shift. But I do want the polytunnel to be ready the moment we get the good weather, tomatoes in, and then we're sorted. So yeah, I'm going to just get a bag. Oh God, it's so windy. What happened? What happened? I need some snips. And I'll take the bucket with me and we'll go do some clearance. I am heavily contemplating saving some of that chard, but I don't want to put it out. You know, like I was saying earlier about watering. Well, now it is evening. If I watered now, I would just be like putting a big glowing red sign to come and dig my beds, chaps, whoever it is who's been digging them. So what I think I'll do is just bunch them all up together, stick them in one pot, give them a drink, stick them in the greenhouse, and then they'll be good to go for not tomorrow, but the next day when I decide what I'm going to do with them. Right, come on, last big push, chaps. Oh, at least it's a bit sheltered in here. I certainly didn't think I'd be saying that today. Okay, right, these are the ones we're going to save. I don't want that. Oh, look at that. Look at the beauty of this chap. Hello. Hi. Oh, isn't that gorgeous? Look at that. All right, well, I'll just leave that one then, shall I? Shall I just leave you there? Yeah. Well, I got some good goodies. Parsley, quite a lot of parsley was left in there actually. I thought I'd got most of it last time. So parsley and both types of chard. I'm going to leave the spring onions just because I'm probably going to eat them tomorrow. So I'll nip up and pick them for dinner. It's just better to pick them fresh. Seems I'm not going to be getting anything else in here tonight, but I think that's progress at least. It feels genuinely stormy out here. Like the birds are all doing their like alarm call singing, you know, and darting about. I think it might actually rain. Dearie me. Right, I'm going to water this pot of chard, see if they've got any life left in them. Then I'm going to go and sit in the tidy shed. Sorry, the shiny Ted, and enjoy looking out over the Empire. Ooh. Hey that Lil, you alright, sweetheart? You alright? I know, what's happened to the withers? What's happened to them withers? Oh my god. Yeah, I know. What happened to the withers? You get this one a good old water. Cheers, chaps. That's nice. Well, this is quite nice actually, isn't it? We don't normally get to do cheers in the shed. It's been a long time. So This has actually been a bit of a trying week. I had some big plans, as you know, right at the beginning. Mum was going away. I thought, right, I can get all of this stuff done before she gets back and it'll be great, right? That was the plan. We had beautiful weather forecast, which we did have. It's just been one of those weeks. So I mentioned earlier that we've had some interesting times with the car. So Mum left her car here, obviously, and my other half has been driving it. Well, we've had some problems with the keys sticking and sometimes it not turning in the ignition. All very well and good. It was happening while Mum was driving it as well. But we were driving around everything. We were going to go on a day trip down to the coast, which I can tell you I am so glad we didn't do. We ended up just going up to Pembroke Lodge in Richmond Park, so really, really close. Had a sandwich, cup of tea, looked out over the view looking towards Petersham. And then let's get back in the car. Nothing happened. Absolutely nothing. It was just completely like the key would go all the way in. It was having trouble going in before. This time it would go all the way in, but there was no movement in it at all, nothing. So then we go online, you know, as you do, you check all the different like tips and tricks of people who've had this problem before. And one of the things is to jiggle the steering wheel and jiggle the key. So we're doing all this. Anyway, 3.5 hours we were in this burning hot car park on top of Richmond Hill with no shade. Couldn't get it to move for love nor money. Managed to put the steering wheel in lock position because of all this stuff we were doing, trying to get the key to move. Obviously, you can't unlock the steering wheel unless the key turns. So that was like then catch 22. So at this point, the wheels are turned like this at the front and we've got no way of moving them back. We didn't have any of the insurance details or like emergency cover or emergency breakdown retrieval or anything details. So walked home. This is about a 45-50 minute walk back home. Got the details. Mum is uncontactable. She can send like 2 text messages a day. This is a yoga retreat. She's not supposed to be using her phone. So she has to go to reception and like log in there to use her phone. So she's sort of not contactable. Anyway, we got the details. So next morning, my other half has gone to work. I know nothing about cars, by the way. I don't drive. All I know about cars is that they come in different colours. They've got wheels, windows, and I sit in the passenger seat. That's the limit of it. And so that morning I got up nice and early and I had to march up into the park, the 50-minute walk again back to the car. So the bloke showed up. He tried to do exactly what we'd been doing. He was then right, well, we need to do a recovery. But this is in an incredibly busy car park in Richmond Park on the sunniest days of the year. The car park was absolutely jammed full. There was no way we were getting any kind of recovery vehicle into there. Park closes at 8 o'clock. Best time, if they can come at 7, we might have a better chance. So then I've walked all the way back again. Then it comes to 6 o'clock and I've got to walk the hour back to the car. 7:30, nobody had shown up. Gave them a call. Oh, estimated arrival time 8:30. Brilliant, because the park will be closed at 8. So that was a write-off. So then I walked home again. Eventually, guy showed up. We had a brilliant clear space. I'd been defending this area. I'd like to stop anybody parking in it for like an hour. Absolutely incredible. Enormous shout out to Rash. His name was. He was incredibly enthusiastic. This was difficult, okay? So it's in a car park. You can't go out front ways because there was a metal bollard. You can't go backwards because there was a piece of broken fence. And where our car was, just coming off it was like a big dip. So the removal car couldn't even get close to it. Girl on the phone was like, no, we need those like police cranes where they just come down and pick the car up from above and then move it. Can you imagine how expensive that would have been? It was just awful. And I was just like, oh my God. And then this bloke Rash was an absolute artist. Obviously the car's front wheels are turned, so you can't push or pull the vehicle without it just going in a circle. They were really turned. They weren't just slightly turned. So with all these like sliders and winches coming off at every different angle, we managed to get the car on the back of the truck. I was just like, it's a miracle. Oh my God, he did it. I was amazed. The guy was an artist. So my first cheers, God, that was a long time, wasn't it? Sorry, when I edit this, I'm hoping I'm going to have cut a lot of that out. I'm looking at the, I've been chatting to you about that for about 15 minutes. Hopefully it's not that long on the timestamp that you're looking at. But yeah, so my first cheers is going to go to Rash. What a man. Saved us. Seriously. 3 days of pissing around with this car. And then, just to make things better, the day that we got the car done, I had one full day up here, which was wonderful. And then I was walking back from the pub and I turned my ankle over again. I've got one dodgy ankle that I turned over about 15 years ago, like properly turned it over, ripped everything. And now it's just unstable. And ever so often I do it again. And every time you do it, you know, it just gets less and less stable. So then I've been hop along Sally, as well as like having no car for 3 days and then hop along Sally, plus trying to get all the boxes handed out to people for Hampton Court. Oh, it has been fun, chaps. I can't believe that we've actually managed to sort of clear the polytunnel, sort of dismantle, or I feel like sort of dismantle the compost bin. Got masses of stuff sown. That was something I really wanted to get done. So yeah, it hasn't been that bad. It hasn't been that bad. But cheers to mum coming home. Basically. God, it's felt like a really long week, chaps. So Hampton is going really well. I handed all of the last of the boxes out last week, which was brilliant. We're just a little way over halfway on the crowdfunder now. We're about 3/5, which is amazing. I will put the link underneath. If you could share it around, I would be really, really grateful, because we just want that last push, because then we can crack on knowing that we're covered for what's coming. At the moment, it's still a little bit uncertain. But thank you so much to everybody who has clicked on that link. Even if you just clicked on it, you know, to have a read about it, I really appreciate it. So what are we going to be doing next week? Now the weather has turned, and it definitely has turned, I'll be able to get those brassicas out. I don't want to completely fill that brassica cage though, because I don't know if you remember when I first built that, it was intended to be the perennial brassica cage. So things that I'm not having to do year in, year out. They're just the stuff that just stays in there. And the 3 that I grow in that line is the Taunton Dean kale, which we've actually got one plant in there already. 9-star broccoli, which I don't have any of at the moment, but I've got some cuttings on their way over to me, so they'll go in there. And then the Asturian tree cabbages that come from real seeds. So that's what I want in there. Currently I've only got one Taunton Dean kale, but I can take a cutting of it. So the end game is to have 2 of each, so 6 really big, well-established plants in that bed that just stay there and don't get touched, don't get dug out. So that is the plan. So I don't really want to fill up that bed with the single season brassicas that are the ones that I've got in that tray. So I'm going to have to think of somewhere else to put them. But one downside of growing 4 beds of potatoes this year is that we're 4 beds down already. But there's a lot of things that do need clearing. I mean, you saw I was taking out the tops of the chard today. That whole bed is going to be cleared. We'll leave those. I've taken those middle stems out, which means that they'll have another flush of leaves at the bottom. They'll never be those really big, beautiful leaves that you get from an unbolted plant. But we'll still get something out of them. So I'll leave them there until then. And I think that's the bed that we're going to put the courgettes in. But yeah, so at the moment it feels like we've got no space, but we will have space fairly shortly. The main crop potatoes will be in there for quite a long time, but actually the first early potatoes, they will be out in no time. They only stay in for about 3-4 months, don't they? So they'll be clear. We've got no problems. What am I talking about? I've been sitting here convincing myself that I've run out of space, and now I've convinced myself that I've got tons of space. So thanks for that chat, chaps. That really helped. But I think on that note, I am going to say big cheers, huge cheers, as always, to my Patreons. These people are what have kept this going for 5 years, and they are outstanding bunch of people. And I can't tell you, it means so much. I can't tell you. When I click on that thing at the end, you know, to be like, put all the names up at the end of the video, and I'm just like, I look at all those names, I just think, oh my God, it's amazing. It is wonderful. So yeah, huge cheers to you chaps. Massive thank you. My excellent Monday clubbers. And cheers to everybody else. I have a purple sprouting broccoli recipe lined up to film. I wanted to wait until mum came back to do that. I've got asparagus recipe lined up, and I also have the rhubarb panna cotta recipe lined up. So there will be recipes heading your way fairly shortly. But yes, chaps, that is me finished. It is cheers. It has actually just started to spit with rain, so I'm going to finish this beer and then trudge home in the rain. Actually, it's quite a relief. If the air has suddenly become really like clear and lovely, whereas it's been dusty recently and so much like pollen in the air, suddenly it feels really clean. So yeah, we're in for quite a different week next week, chaps. Mum's home, weather's changed, there won't be any car dramas, she says, gripping the wood, and my ankle's back to normal. So cheers, chaps.